You may have heard of Prabowo Subianto. He's on course to be Indonesia's next president. But on TikTok, he's a cuddly grandfather. He speaks softly, he loves his cat, he grooves to music, and the Gen Z love him. Subianto's election campaign was termed Gimoy, a moniker for all things cute and cuddly. Gen Z and millennials loved him, they voted for him, and he won. Sounds innocent, right? A cuddly grandfather-like figure winning the election. Except it's not that simple. Prabowo Subianto has a dark past. He was once Indonesia's feared army general. His name spooked citizens. He was in the inner circle of dictator Suharto. He was accused of human rights violations. He was blamed for military repression and a lot of bloodshed. But Indonesia's youth doesn't remember that. And it's this generation that Subianto targeted with his campaign. It was a flawless TikTok makeover. From feared general to cuddly grandpa with unique dance moves. It worked. It won him the election. Is this a template that others could follow? After all, this is a mega election year. More than 63 countries are going to polls. Nearly 3 billion people will be voting. And one powerful tool is influencing them all. TikTok. Hate it or love it, political leaders cannot ignore it anymore. After all, most of the youth is on this app. So is TikTok influencing elections now? Why are more and more politicians getting on it? And is this the new election battleground? I'm Palki Sharma, and this is Between the Lines. Have you heard of fentanyl? It's a potent drug, 50 times more potent than heroin, 100 times more potent than morphine, and it's very addictive. TikTok is called digital fentanyl. The app was launched in 2016. It is owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance. And from the word go, it was a hit. You no longer needed to tilt your phone to watch videos. Plus, they were short as 15 seconds. TikTok captured global imagination. People spent hours on the app scrolling. By 2021, TikTok had 1 billion monthly users, a feat that took Facebook almost a decade to achieve. So what makes TikTok so special? Many say it's the algorithm. It's almost like it reads your mind, and that's what makes TikTok so addictive. Look at the daily screen time. An average user spends 49 minutes on Facebook, 51 minutes on Instagram. But when it comes to TikTok, it shoots up to 95 minutes. That's 1.5 hours every single day spent on one app. It's more than any other platform. In the US, TikTok has 170 million monthly users. That's almost half of the country's population. Maybe that's why their president joined the bandwagon. Last Sunday was a busy one for America. It was Super Bowl day, and amid all the hullabaloo, Joe Biden dropped a major update. He had joined TikTok, the same app that he wants to ban. Of course, the president won't be running the account. His campaign team will be. But why now? In 2022, Biden signed legislation to ban TikTok on government devices. In 2023, the app was under major scrutiny. There were data security concerns, allegations of Chinese interference. The TikTok CEO was even grilled. He testified in front of the US Congress. They asked him about a national security threat, and he pushed back against it. But the lawmakers were not convinced. Yet none of that has fazed America's youth. They love TikTok and how, which explains why Biden is now on it. It's election year in the US, and if Biden wants to win, he needs the youth. They helped him seal his victory in 2020, and his campaign hopes it can repeat that in 2024. So the sure shot way to do it is to join the app that young people spend hours on. And Biden isn't the only one to do this. The appeal is across all parties. Vivek Ramaswamy joined the app too. He said it was to draw young voters. And it's not just America or Indonesia, it's a global phenomenon. In Kenya, TikTok was accused of stoking tensions. This was ahead of the country's election. In Pakistan, Imran Khan's PTI held virtual rallies on TikTok. It's because their leader was jailed and the party was banned on other media platforms. In Taiwan, China was accused of using influencers. Reports suggest they helped pro-Beijing candidates. In Turkey, nearly 700,000 TikTok accounts were hacked ahead of the election. So elections are not just being fought on ground now, they're being fought on TikTok too, which explains why this year is being called the TikTok election year. Does that mean that the app has too much power? Consider this. TikTok videos have no checks and balances. Anyone can make a video and say almost anything. You could call it freedom of speech, but most of the time it's fake news. And this misinformation can be lethal for democracies. So what is TikTok doing about it? They say they have a plan, partnering with trusted information sources like electoral commissions and fact-checking organizations. Together, they will build in-app election centers. And how will it work? Imagine you search elections on the app or watch election-related content. It will come with prompts to relevant sources of information like the Election Commission website. Then there's political advertising. TikTok says it's a no-no. Paid political advertising is not allowed on the platform. But what about fake news? TikTok says it is not a news platform. Fair enough. But 43% of its users use it for news. It's a unique dilemma, to be honest. The way we consume news is changing. People are ditching traditional media, newspapers, television. They're turning to creators and shorter videos, which means TikTok plays an outsized role, and that brings us to its problematic past. TikTok may be popular, but it comes with a baggage of China. There are concerns over national security, there are concerns of interference, there are concerns of Chinese influence. In 2020, India banned TikTok. This was after the Galwan clashes. India's move was to protect its integrity. And since then, several countries have followed suit. Afghanistan banned it in 2022. Nepal and Somalia banned it in 2023. Several countries have banned it on government devices, the likes of Denmark, the US, Canada, and the Netherlands. The list goes on, so you get the gist. Countries are concerned about TikTok, yet they cannot seem to avoid it. It's complicated. TikTok is where Gen Z is, and to reach them, 40 world leaders are on the app. Foreign ministers have TikTok channels, but there's very little interaction. Can they really avoid it? It's tricky. India banned TikTok in 2020. That was the nascent stages. It was still not as big, so India got out. But other countries may not have it so easy. Like I said, half of America's population is on TikTok. Can you imagine what a blanket ban would mean? There will be pushback. And maybe that's why governments are exercising caution. That said, it's a slippery slope. The more you engage, the bigger it grows. It's like a ticking time bomb. It may help some of them win elections, but at some point, it will blow up in their faces.